All right, says we're live. So what's up, man? How you doing? Even though we talked for 20 minutes. Doing good, doing good. A little bit of a late start for today.
Give me just a few moments while I.
Yeah, it's a stream. People are used to a little bit of downtime when it starts.
Yeah. My chat has been notified. Let me gonna see if someone community wants to join. Right. That's phone. Take a look, chat with thing. There it is.
What are you looking for?
Oh no, I'm just pulling it up on my phone.
Oh yeah, so you can see it as well. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm pretty much settled now.
All right, so so you should be able to hear him. By the way, Deep South. It's the video is actually muted. It's just me and my friend talking. We're gonna talk about his tabletop RPG he's making in the dot hack universe.
Yes. Hello, everyone. I hope everyone's having a fantastic day. Welcome, welcome.
Got 6 viewers at the moment, so that's pretty cool.
Hey, that's pretty darn cool. Well, welcome everyone who's just jumping in, and thank you, Alkin, for having me on tonight.
Yeah, of course. After literally, so anybody who doesn't know, this is Key to Darkness. I might call him Claude. That's
Hmm.
another name he goes by, which I assume is his alias. I'm joking. Probably his real
Yeah,
name,
hi,
but
I'm Claude
yeah,
Gaston. Yeah, that's my name, Claude
yeah,
Gaston. Hi, welcome
yeah.
everyone.
So last week, he ended up helping me making a character for his tabletop RPG, which is based in the dot hack universe, and I was just flabbergasted by how detailed his whole thing is. Like, apparently, like, how many pages have you written? Like, in total, all
I'm
documents.
taking a look at them right now. So 62 between the three documents, 62, 59, and 58. Okay, let me get my calculator out so that way. So
Calculator.
49. Yep, 58. Two. So in total, there is almost 180 pages between the three documents.
Yeah, so last week he was helping me make my character for his campaign, and I was just blown away by how much work he's put into and like how detailed it is. So,
Hmm.
so I figured I might do a stream where I'm asking him what it's like to not only make your own D&D campaign, but make your own D&D game as well.
Well, a little bit of background for me. I've been a dungeon master for D&D 5th edition for about 8 or 9 years at this point, so I have experience with role-playing games, tabletop games. I've dealt with several different groups, and when it comes to this system that I made, I honestly didn't think I was going to go into as much detail because building something from scratch like this, especially a new system, I'll
Yeah,
get to like how the system works and my inspirations for
yeah,
that as we go along, but it's just like at first it was kind of like how do I set the foundation, and it was that foundation that I worked on. In
yeah.
fact, this is the revision 2 of the system, meaning the original version was actually created by CyberConnect.
Oh, really?
It was only released, yeah, it was only released in Japan and selected magazines at the time for Dot Hack. And while that game is more kind of like a one-time sit down, your friends have a good time for a night kind of role-playing game, it was very, not very fleshed out, but it was fun for what it is. I decided to take that system and
Yeah.
expand upon it, especially with like one of the major systems of this is
Mm-hmm.
the dynamic die system, where as you level up, your dice level up as well. Typically in
Yeah.
tabletop games like Dungeons and Dragons, every roll you make usually is dictated by a d20, whereas
Yeah.
this, your dice go from a d6 to a d8, d10, and finally to a d12. It's like your dice is leveling up with you, and because of that, you'll have more access to more skill slots or spell slots, have access to more like chances to succeed in the
Yeah.
game, and it's one of those systems where like it's the dynamic die system is integral to this, and it's because of
Yeah.
that original system, the original Infinite Generation, that I built upon that system. Because there it was just you roll a die, you activate the skill that's there, and that's that. Where this, it's
Yeah.
that same spiritual success, so to speak. This.
I like the idea of it. It's almost like the best way I could put it is just like in certain games when you level up, it's like, oh, I can do 2 slashes instead of 1 now, you know? So like with the dice levels up, it's just kind of like that same kind of feeling for me. It's like, oh, when I hit this level, I can finally dual wield and hit, you know, do 2 attacks instead of just 1.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, whereas this is just kind of like you have access to more skills
Yeah.
that you can potentially do. Your damage is a lot higher. You have better chances of getting higher HP or SP, which is the cost of, you know, your abilities.
Yeah.
And it's just like it is very integral. Then I don't think there's a roll 20. There's no use for the D20 system in here,
Mhm.
at least as far as I remember. So at least for right now, I mean D20.
You could always revise it to put D20 in there.
Yeah, but the point I'm trying to make is this is not using a D20 system. This is using a system that
Yeah.
wasn't really fleshed out before, but I've made it unique in terms of like the aspect of it.
Okay, so first question. What possessed you to want to actually make your own D&D game, tabletop? Like what pushed
Well-
you to actually want to do it? Have you just been like wanting to do it for years and you finally got down to it, or was there a certain reason you wanted to do .hack as opposed to something else?
Well, I to answer that, I will start like on my channel, my main channel. I've been doing .hack a bridge series. Now I have been putting that off for a while, but mostly because at that time I was thinking, okay, I need something to do. I need something in between the episodes to keep my mind, you know, refreshed, get my ideas on paper. And then I saw .hack Network's video. I think it was a short about the original Infinite Generation. So I looked into it. I looked into the system. I even tried it with some of my friends, and this had potential to become something better. And it was a system from 2003, so it wasn't going to be as fleshed out as, say, newer editions of D&D. So I'm like, okay, wait a minute. What if I took this system, just added onto it, but
Yeah.
instead of using the original classes from the World R1, which is basically the predecessor to the system, I would take all the classes and races from .hack GU and kind of use them as the base for this. And that's kind of how it started. I wanted to see if it were possible for me to make this system like and expand upon it to a modernized.
You still there?
Yeah, I'm still there. Sorry,
Cut out.
that was it.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So, what was probably the first step that you like wanted to take when you were going to start doing it? Like, how does one even like start making their own tabletop RPG?
Well, it's very difficult. Let me tell you that. But the thing that I did starting out is that I did research on whatever I was trying to do. Like for example, I've played .hack GU for years, but it wasn't until I actually went into the game, not like into the code or anything, but just took a look at the game, the classes, what they do. I counted how many hits abilities do, and I looked into the monsters. In fact, I sort of played Pokemon Go with GU as I went out to the different areas, took pictures of the monsters, which you'll probably see in the third document if we get to it tonight.
Okay.
But I went out and took pictures of the monsters. I went out to every single shop to get the details on what they do,
Yeah.
what stat increases they get, and then I just kind of went from there.
Yeah, because I mean, even just looking at the documents when you were trying to like help me set up my character, I was just like, okay, if you just go down to page 89, I'm like, holy crap, 89 pages in one document. That's crazy. Because it's like
Yeah, it's a
people,
little
yeah.
unorganized.
Well, yeah, that's what takes time, just getting it like fleshed out in the right kind of ways. But it's just kind of funny because
Yeah.
like people always complain like, I got to type up a 5-page paper for school, and it's like you literally went out and typed up 180 something pages. Like that's wow.
Yeah, and just the character creation document alone, it's 14,000 uh like 62 pages, 14,000 words. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot here. But I would say that like my main goal with this system is to give a lot more personalization to characters. Now, you can do that in D&D 5e just fine.
Mhm.
But there's going to be plenty of instances where someone plays the same type of character, like the
Yeah.
same class, even the same race sometimes. With this, you have a little bit more personalization to it. Like one of the one of the classes in this system is called the Adept Rogue, which is essentially the multi-class class, where you select 2 to 3 different other classes, and you pretty much take abilities, skills, spells
Mhm.
from them, and just kind of make your own. And that is the kind of like the theming of this game, like your own personalization, and just kind of.
Yeah, like just the amount of customization that I was seeing that we could do was just insane. Even the fact like that I could choose. I mean, first of all, you choose the classes. Obviously, we chose like all the items, but just the way that like doing skills that you had set up as well was very interesting. Like how you have to roll, and I guess like what is it like? Can you explain how you use your skills in the game? Because like you said, like you roll what was it, like a 10-sided die or something like that, and whatever you roll on is the skill you can use.
Yes, that goes back to the whole dynamic dying system.
Yeah.
So let's just say fresh character level 1, you are in combat with a
Mm-hmm.
goblin or something. On your turn, you can roll your die, and then you can make one of two things. You can make a basic attack, which is just adding your physical to that die result.
Yeah.
Or if you have a skill in the number, you get to activate the skill instead, which 9 times out of 10 is going to do more damage than the basic attack, or do like something crazy like lowering defense, gaining physical attack for your party, whatever
Yeah.
the case may be. And it's real simple. Like whereas D&D, at least in my opinion, like you are taking a look at everything you have and
Mm-hmm.
everything that you can do, and spending upwards of 5 or 10 minutes deciding what you want to do.
Yeah.
With this, you just roll a die. Hey, did you roll the number you want? No. Great, just do a basic attack. Did you roll the number you did want? Hey, yes, do skill. Simple enough. It keeps the flow of combat going, and that's kind of like the big improvement with this
Yeah.
system I've seen over D&D 5e. Is just the speed of this game is a lot more fast than your traditional RPG.
Yeah, even when we did the test, what was it, like 2-3 months ago, I had a blast
Something
playing
like
it, and I just remember one of the big things I liked about it is it just felt snappy, like very snappy. Because a lot of times when I played D&D in the past, it feels like some people just take forever on their turns, and it's just the way you've set it up is very streamlined to the point that I think like the longest
Yeah.
turn that we had was like maybe like 3 minutes.
Yeah, because for the most part, all the skills and spells that you bring with you, you've already selected what result is going to be on your die. And it
Yeah.
kind of saves that trouble of what you want to bring with you to an extent. Now, granted, out of combat, you can always select, hey, which skill you want to project with your die.
Yeah.
But in combat, it kind of eliminates that issue. Because you just roll, did you get it? Yes, great. Not, hey, try something else. I mean,
Yeah.
and ever since our playtest, I've actually added 2 new actions to the system.
Mhm.
The guard action, which you don't attack that turn, but you reduce damage. And the evade action, where if you roll
Yeah.
higher than your opponent, you essentially dodge an attack fully. If not, well, you take the full plunge of damage, and you
Yeah.
don't get to attack. So
Oh,
there's
wow.
a trade-off of that.
Yeah, that's trade-offs are pretty cool, man. You definitely give a lot of thoughts to a lot of different things, and definitely throwing a lot of spaghetti at the wall and seeing what sticks is a very smart thing to do. But yeah, just even like the little things you've changed from the regular D&D was super duper fun. Like even just the idea of like you just said, where you can roll to possibly evade an attack, and if you roll high enough, you evade it. But if you don't roll high enough, you get hit and you lose your turn. That's a pretty cool mechanic, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it just gives more options during combat now
Yeah.
because not everyone's going to be doing any sort of attacking on their. Maybe they can't. Maybe they don't have any SP, or maybe they're
Yeah.
not in range. Well, good thing you can just
Yeah.
get that evade action, or you could just protect yourself and just like
Yeah. You
if you
might be
know
close to
such thing as
dying,
an
and
income.
you might want to just take that roll and be like, hey, I don't know if I can heal myself well enough. So you just roll and try to see if you can dodge it to begin with.
Yeah, and that kind of comes from like my D&D experience because in
Yeah.
D&D it's usually meted to beat it. Did you hit? Yes, you take the full damage.
Yeah.
Did you pass your save? Yes, you take half damage. And well, that does work for me. And I'm not knocking D&D 5e for because that's kind of how the system is.
Yeah.
At least with this, it's more like, hey, this is what you want to do. This is the effect. It just continues on that way. There's no saving throws in this game. It's you just do the damage. You got the defense for it? Great. You don't? Oh, well, looks like you're going to be taking the bulk of the damage.
So what do you think is like the biggest change that you've made from, regular D&D 5e?
The biggest change. Well, that is a very good question. There's a lot of changes.
Which one
I
are you
did
most
take
proud of,
some
I guess?
Which one am I most proud of?
Yeah.
Man, that is a very difficult thing to.
What is the one that when you're talking about it, you get a little tear in your eye and you just have all these like great memories of like, man, that's a cool system I made.
I think it's not necessarily the system, but I especially enjoy the new classes I made for. There are two new classes in my system: the Chakra Machinist, which is essentially the artificer of the system, where they're all about supporting the party either through enhancing themselves through alchemy, or perhaps even bringing like a mecha grunty, which is essentially this cow pig hybrid machine, and helping in combat, and the Mirror Mimic, which they're all about. If you've played Final Fantasy 14, then you know about the Blue Mage. This is essentially the Blue Mage if you can enhance your own skills, that you've learned from.
So one of the biggest things
that's
you
kind
like
of
making
my-
classes, that was like your favorite thing to do?
Oh yeah, I like creating new things, new lore, new aspects that weren't in the original. Because in this system, there are six races. In the GU games, there were only 4, and in GU there were also only 11 classes versus the 13 now. So like, not only are you getting the same classes that you did if you played .hack GU, but you're also getting some new stuff in between. And I like bringing that new content for people who enjoy the series or even just decide, just play this just for the sake of playing a new tabletop.
Good news. Dark Wolfie said he just followed you.
Oh, hey, thank you very much. I appreciate it, buddy. Nice to meet you too, the Dark Wolf. Wolfie?
Yeah, the Dark Wolfies.
Okay. Hey, thank you very much, bud. I appreciate it.
So is there anything in particular you want to highlight about your D&D campaign?
You're talking about, my system?
Yeah, is there any things you want to bring up and just kind of say like what makes it awesome is like or better or what you think,
I think one of the big things that we never got to explore because it was mostly one shot is the morale and relationship system.
Yeah.
Anytime you get a
I was confused about confused. I want to hear more about that.
Yes. Anytime you get a critical hit or an attack, which is called Rangeki in this system, anytime that, say you give a gift card to one of your party members or you do certain things, you gain what is called morale points. Building that up with your party, you're able to develop relationships, which give you bonuses. One second, go to page 5. There you go. So as people embark on their journeys within the world, the setting of IGR2, relationships grow, much like we all do. Throughout the process, you'll be coming into contact with people with diverse ranges, friendships or foes, whatever the case may be. In any situation, 2 player characters that roll the same number when rolling a die, it doesn't have to be in combat. It could also be just making a check, like a perception check or a hide check. If you roll the same number, you gain morale between the 2 of you. And you could use that to either develop a relationship, like say you want to develop a rivalry with someone, or you want to be close friends with someone, or if you if you have unrequited love, just things of that nature.
Yeah, we'll call it unrequited love. We'll go with that term.
Yeah, it just builds that sense of like realism with your character because like when you have that bond with one of your other party members, it makes it feel a little bit more real. You want to get
Yeah.
more into that role playing aspect. And man, that's loud. Sorry, that just love it.
Hey, you're fine. Don't worry
Um,
about it.
but yeah, I want to explore this a little bit more as
Yeah.
just like I think this was the one thing that was missing in D&D
Hmm.
5e is just kind of like a system that encourages role play through this. Like, and there's incentives to develop a relationship. Let me just point
Yeah.
out one that I have right in front
Yeah.
of me. Yeah, a partner. You know, that's pretty much a standard one. A
Yeah.
friendship built up through battling together, believing in each other's abilities, and making the pair an outstanding combination. And the stipulation of how to get it is that after defeating a monster, you
Hmm.
both consume X amount of morale points for each other. And then you get this permanent effect that during battle, if you and your partner roll the same number, you
Yeah.
both deal more damage the next time you do and pretty much any sort of attacking action.
Yeah.
So it's just like that simple thing, that simple addition, and makes it, it flavors the characters a little bit more.
Yeah, because one of the big things I noticed when I was playing D&D with the groups I played with is that sometimes getting that role playing going is a really, really hard thing to do, and anything you could do to encourage it helps out a lot.
Yeah.
Like one of the
I think
campaigns I played before, like what they would do is they would let us do like little. We wouldn't like play the game, but they would let us go on little missions that were just strictly RP to encourage RP in the Discord server. So, like for instance, we might be like, "Hey, we'd RP about, hey, let's go into the forest to see what we can find," and obviously we'd have the dungeon master, the DM, you know, monitor what we're talking about, and they might give us something, be like, hey, you found this special mushroom, or you found this random freaking dagger, sitting in a tree or something like that, and it really encouraged a lot of role playing. So the fact that you're putting it into your game in that kind of way where you actually get like morale and all that, that just seems like a really good way to kind of encourage people to actually interact.
Yeah, and even if you didn't want to interact with the
Mhm.
relationship system, the other alternative is awakenings. Now, awakenings are special attacks that can be performed as a party to unleash a devastating attack against enemies.
Mhm.
Like for example, Beast Awakening. With at the cost of like 30 morale points,
Mhm.
your movement is increased, your physical and magical attack is increased, and enemies cannot take actions for 2 rounds of combat. That right there is a very powerful effect that requires everyone to contribute morale to it. So that gives, again, that gives more emphasis on role playing with your party. Like if you
Yeah.
like are doing all these role play aspects, if you keep getting those same numbers, it encourages people to use these type of things.
Yeah. So I'm looking at your monster guide at the moment, and wow, there's a lot of
Yes.
monsters in here. How did you get all the artwork for this? Is it from like, I guess, games?
Yes, in all of this, well, I would say most of this is actually from the games themselves.
Yeah.
Some of the like art images I actually pulled off online. There's an artist that I am working with that is working on the art for IGR2 currently.
Hmm.
But in terms of the images I got here, I pulled these all directly from the game. Remember I said I played Pokemon oh, did I say
Pokemon
Pokemon Go?
Go.
I meant Pokemon Snap. I
Oh,
meant to
okay.
say Pokemon Snap. Excuse me.
You can still take
Pokemon
pictures of
Snap with
Pokemon
the
Go.
monsters. Yeah, well, fair enough. But yeah, I went inside the game. I ended up finding where the enemies are. Thank goodness someone documented where each enemy is in
Yeah.
which area. And I just took pictures of them, through, the capture system in the PS4. And just
Yeah.
kind of like cropped it out, like have that visual there because not everyone's going to know what these monsters look like.
Yeah.
So it's nice to have that visual representation.
Yeah. I mean, like, I'm just like scrolling down this, and it's just like, it's not just, oh, you just have pictures of monsters with stats. Like, you're literally giving also actual like descriptions of what the monsters are, what they do, which is pretty cool.
Yeah,
Like,
most of them are pulled
yeah.
from the Wikipedia, while
Yeah.
others I actually had to go and make lore for. Like for example, the one thing that the first lore that I actually wrote for this system is in fact the Guru Gone. I believe they're on page 19. It is said that they have eaten so many monsters that they have developed immense strength. As a result of such, its tongue can no longer fit in its mouth, and they frequently use it to smash its foes. I believe that was one of the earlier ones that I've written. I could be wrong, but I remember writing something
Yeah.
to that effect. I'm pretty sure this. But
Have you
just kind
actually
of like
designed
writing
your
this
own
small
monster for the game yet?
Not yet, because I wanted to get kind of like the main monsters
Hmm.
down, and I still have yet to get every single monster in the system, as I'm still trying to get more level 7, 8, and 9 monsters so that
Yeah.
I can actually complete the system. But as soon as I get different artwork for this, which it's going to take a really long time for that to work,
Yeah.
but as soon as I'm able to get that artwork done, yes, I will be creating new monsters for this system. In fact, I have planned in the works of an expansion to this. You
Hmm.
know, if it ever gets that much more noticed, and
Yeah.
it's really interesting. I'm trying to see if there's another. Well, I think there was another monster that I gotta find them. Let's see. Is this it?
Yeah, on the stream right now, I literally just have your monster guide up. Oh, God, there's some cool looking monsters in here. I just have your monster guide open, and I just have it just auto scrolling down, going through all your monsters.
Yeah, I'm trying to find one that I've actually written.
Yeah. If you want
Okay,
to,
yeah, I
yeah.
believe. Oh, I'm sorry.
I was gonna say, if you want to, you can also plug in your abridged series real quick. I'm gonna go grab a glass of water.
Yes. Hello, friends. I also do an abridged series. .hack GU abridged. I'll put the link in the chat as soon as I can get it to you all. If I can, give me one tick. Ta-da. I'm going to be working on GUA .hack Roots episode 2 here real soon, and man, it's been a long while since I've actually worked on that episode. Where is? Where is it? Share. B. Copy. B. There we go. I'm gonna plug it. Oh. Nightbot. How dare you, Nightbot? I've already got the approval of Alkin, but you deleted my post. Oh well. I'll put it in Alkin's Discord. I'll put it under promo. So if any of you want to watch GUA Abridged, hey, it'll be right there for you all to take a look at. Several hundreds of hours working on those episodes. So hey, it would be appreciated if you hit that like button. Not just on mine, but an Alkin stream. Get his numbers up. Boo. Yes. But how is everyone doing tonight? Doing good. We're here. We're talking about .hack tabletops. We're doing the stuffs. All the good stuffs. Yeah. Yeah. Nightbot, relax. Exactly, Battle Puppet. Exactly, Nightbot. I got the permission from Alkin to post. You did not have the permission to ban me. Sort of. Yes, you did. I mean, you did anyway. But it's, you know what? It's alright. It's okay. It's okay. At least I found an alternative to promote myself.
Sorry about that. The dog wanted some pats.
That's okay.
So, anyways, also while I was gone, I remember one of the questions I wrote in my original text document of questions I wanted to ask. So,
yeah,
when you're designing a D&D campaign, you could also talk about like just campaigns in general, but also like designing this game.
All right.
Yeah, well, campaigns in general, but also like when you're making a game, how do you account for new players? Like, how do you try to make it as accessible as possible for people?
Well, I'll first actually get with the player, like see what they want to do.
Yeah.
If they're a new player to the system, whether it be this or Dungeons & Dragons, I talk with them, get some ideas going. We write a little bit of a backstory for them, like something just to get them started. And then I'll introduce them to the players, like as we go along. And just kind of have them be there when the game starts. Then if they're comfortable, interacting, that's great. If not, they could just sit back, relax, enjoy the story, and interact with whatever it is that they want to interact with.
Yeah.
It's not everyone's going to have like the same mindset as myself, so I try to work with my players for anything they want to do for a D&D game.
Was there anything you were worried about as far as like when you were designing it, were you kind of worried about like having issues, well, not issues, like making it kind of hard for new players to, I guess, come into the game?
In terms of my system, or like
In terms of your
D&D
system,
in
I guess,
general?
like, was there anything you were kind of worried about, and like, did you do anything, or did you change anything in your your game to like make it more accessible to new players?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like this, like the initial document, the character creation has gone through 41 revisions. So anytime you see like a version that has like version one, this is just the base system. Like no major changes have happened, and then the number after that, the points, whatever, is the amount of changes. So I've
Yeah.
done 41 changes with this system so far, and I've definitely taken into account for newer players because when
Yeah.
you create a level one character, all you're doing is choosing a race,
Hmm.
choosing a class, and maybe your stats. That's about it. Like you, I mean
Yeah.
there's really no complicated things with that. And considering EXP, like
Hmm.
every time you gain a level, you're only gaining 1,000 experience. For example,
Yeah.
between level 1 to 2 is 1,000, 2 to 3 is 1,000, and so on and so forth.
Hmm.
So you don't have to worry about like, oh, I need to get 100,000 just to get to level 4. You know, it's just like it's simple.
Hmm.
Like the numbers are smaller. Like for that,
Hmm.
it's a little bit more manageable to jot down.
Yeah.
Especially with your dungeon master helping you with experience and whatnot.
Yeah.
Not to mention, my main issue with D&D 5e is that most people skip levels 1 to 2 and just go straight on to 3.
Oh,
Like,
they
maybe
just
they're
usually
just
start
start
around
at level
3.
2. Yeah, they usually start around 3 because you get subclasses, you're one level away
Uh,
from getting a feat, you know, that sort of thing. Whereas this, I wanted to emphasize that it is important to start at level 1 so that way you know what your character can do.
Yeah.
And by the time you hit 2, 3, 4, you will know how to work with what you got, you know, and maybe enhance it with some crazy combination you have figured out.
Yeah.
Probably something that I never figured out. I like the
Yeah.
aspect of people trying to break my game, so that way I can. Yeah, I know that's kind of crazy to say. Like, I want my players to, for this system, to break my system, show me what you can do.
Yeah.
And then if it's a PvE game, like yeah, there is PvP elements. I've included
Mm-hmm.
a separate function where if you wanted to do PvP, it's very viable. But for the most part, this is a team-based role playing. So
Yeah. I got
if you're
that.
going
I
to
got
break
that
something,
impression.
it benefits the party, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even like one of the big things I liked about it when we played the test, which by the way, I think we were level 3, by the way, starting us out at
Yeah.
level 3,
Oh,
Claude.
yeah.
So you said we're starting at level 1
Yep.
now. So a couple months back, Claude did a test. I got like a, what would you call it? Like a test skirmish where we all got together
Like
and kind of,
a test raid. Essentially.
yeah, a
That's
test
what
raid.
the test.
And one of the big things I liked about it is the system really, really did promote party play.
Yeah.
Like it didn't feel that
Because
any,
everyone has their
yeah.
role.
everybody kind of, maybe it's the people we were playing with, they're just really good at playing role-playing games with people, but I felt like a part of a team. Other times I've tried to play D&D, one of the issues I usually had is that so many people have main character syndrome. Like, you give them that layup and they don't even try. One of the things I liked about it was like we had a designated healer that was healing. We had a designated attacker who was attacking. We had a designated person who was supposed to be taking the damage, which was me, by the way. And
Yeah.
it was just, we were all talking to each other.
Yeah, because if you try to go in with just one party member, you theoretically could get through some of the content, but
Yeah.
you're not going to survive very long
Yeah.
because this is the kind of system where not just one person can get through all the content, or like
Yeah.
3 separate people just going through the content. It
Yeah.
is a team effort. Like you could even have like all attacking units. You're all contributing to the same goal.
Yeah.
Getting rid of the enemies, getting cool stuff, and essentially bettering your character so that
Yeah.
you could take on some of the much harder content.
So let me catch you with the flip side of the same question I kind of asked. So I was asking, what do you think makes your campaign, I'm trying to think of the word, but like makes it accessible to like newer players and makes new players want to play, how easy it is to go there. What do you have in your .hack D&D tabletop game for veteran players who play D&D for years, super duper into like, the rules and all that stuff? Like what do they get when they come to your .hack game?
Oh man, they will essentially get a lot of things in later levels. Like for this next playtest coming up, not only do you have something called a job extension, which as the name implies, it's an extension to your class, essentially. You get things like you get more talents.
Mhm.
You get the multi-trigger system, where you know how I said in the explanation of the dynamic die, you roll one die.
Mhm.
Well, you get to roll two die and select either result this time. So adding more flexibility as to what you want to choose at the right moment. Not to mention, at the pinnacle of the system, the moment you hit level 10, we have this thing called the X form, which very fitting name, X, 10, ha. But basically what the X form is, it is the final extension to your character where it changes your class completely. I'm going to be extended upon it if I ever get to levels 11 and 12, but for the most part of it, the X form, if we just pull it up, let's see. Names of your classes change. Like for example, the Twin Blade becomes the Twin Excalibur, the Edge Punisher becomes the Edge Destroyer, and my personal favorite, the Adept Rogue, becomes the Trick Master, because I was going to make a Trick Master class for D&D 5e, but it didn't pan out. I'm really glad I was able to reuse some of that. And it isn't just like you get a new types of weapons, you get new types of effects, a new skill or spell, depending on what class you are using, and it just further enhances that character, especially during endgame, as you are experiencing that sort of transformation.
So that.
Yep, yeah, I'm there.
Okay.
Did I cut out?
Yeah, I think you cut out a little bit.
Oh no, what did you hear?
Oh, I heard basically everything. I think you literally it cut out like right as you were stopping.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Just making sure.
So
yes,
what?
there's just so
yeah.
much to this for late game. That
I can
sums
tell.
up what I was
Yeah.
going to say.
Even going from like I remember when we were making the character for like level 3 for the the little test raid. It was very, very straightforward and very, very easy to understand. And even like when we did the level 6, last week, that was also easy to understand. It's one of those things where like it's so simple, but there's so many options you could do. It can kind of be a little overwhelming, but it's like overwhelming like in a good way.
Yeah.
Like you
It's
can make so
overwhelming
many
because
different
we're
kinds of
starting-
classes.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's overwhelming because we are making level 6 characters for this playtest.
Yeah.
So, like, I would not recommend anyone starting mid-level because you will get overwhelmed. But that's why I recommend going levels 1 to 6. Just to play test, like, hey, well, how did this class work? Okay, what is their benefit? What is their negative? And then just go from there.
Makes complete sense to me because like I think that was the thing that I found kind of overwhelming about it is that. And that's why I think you starting at level 1, making people start at level 1 is a good idea, because at that point you actually are really making a character. You're getting to get the feel of the character. You're getting to get the sense of like what you want to do. Going from level 1 to 6 is kind of like, what do I want to do? I don't know. I haven't really played too much. I haven't really had an opportunity to use this skill or that skill, because I might be like, I'm going to be a DPS dealer, and then all of a sudden I start playing the game. I'm like, oh, I really think I'm better at tanking damage. I think that's more of like my personality with this character.
Yeah, and the best thing with this is that technically the setting, you're in an MMO. So even if you wanted to change classes, change characters, you could just say, hey, you know what? I'm going to change my class, in game. You don't have to change your entire character. Just be like, hey, I'm going to do this and that so that way I can change my class.
Yeah.
You can do, which is great. It still keeps with the thematics. It still keeps with the roleplay, and you get to choose what you want at any given point.
It's always good. It's always good to do that. All right, so another question I had for you. So you've obviously been working on this for a while. What was probably like the most frustrating part of making a tabletop RPG?
The most frustrating part has got to be, I want to say, just getting the foundation there, because, well, I do have like all the not all the stats. I actually had to make up the stats myself based off of descriptions of the classes that I was able to pull, but like just getting that information, that took such a long time just to get it down. Think about, okay, the Edge Punisher is a physical attacker, but it's also physically bulky. Okay, I need to have more physical stuff. Or like the Shadow Warlock, they are the wizards of this system, so I need to have them have more magical things. Just kind of like making sure that the stats are balanced to the point which makes sense. And that was and especially when it came to the monster. Now, I would say the big problem that I had with this, not so much now because I'm able to balance it a little bit better now, but it's just kind of like levels 1 to 3 monsters. Yeah, they would just get destroyed in 1 or 2 hits. Yeah, it's just kind of like skills or spells are just that powerful, you know.
Yeah.
So I managed to balance it out a little bit better, so that way they can like the enemies can take more damage, either
Yeah.
health and such, or maybe they have like unique
Mhm.
abilities that they use.
One of the things I've actually wanted to ask you for like a while, to be honest, is you DM like a lot of campaigns, and I remember you telling me that.
Yeah.
Like, how do you actually like balance the game? Like, how do you actually balance it? How do you make sure that what you're throwing at your party, you know, your players, is not going to be too much or too underwhelming? Like, how do you, as a DM, actually make sure it's going to be a very engaging campaign or engaging fight, engaging raid? How do you make sure that it's going to go smoothly?
Well, hey, that's the best part. For anyone who wants to be a dungeon master, you're not going to get balanced. You're not
Yeah.
going to have any sort of balance with this. Now, it doesn't say that there won't be balance. I mean, you could try your best depending on what your party is, like what level they are.
Yeah.
But you're never going to know what your party's going to have. Like, yeah, you could talk with them, but they might just pick up a spell like that totally breaks your system, that totally like creates
Yeah.
chaos in the encounter. I remember in one of the last D&D games I ran,
Mhm.
our druid ended up using like this spell that created like this very difficult terrain for all these paladins that have no sense of movement other than walking. So having them get tangled up in vines throughout, and it wasn't just like a small area, it was like a 120-foot radius or something that massive. So just kind of like, it's one of those things that you don't think of. You're, as a DM, you're never going to anticipate everything your players are going to do.
Oh, I know
And
that.
as long as you're not being unfair with your monsters, like,
Yeah.
oh, hey, you're level 2, well, I'm going to throw a lich at you. Power word killed. Done.
Yeah.
No, like, there's going to be some monsters that you can't anticipate that are going to be super strong, and just as,
Yeah.
as players, you're not going to anticipate what they're going to do. So
Yeah.
I say pick a monster that you like, that think fits with the thematics. If it's strong, then yeah, it creates an interesting encounter. If it's too strong, you might want to pull back on that choice real quick. Think about how it's going to affect your player. I like
Yeah.
to try to get like the average damage of what a spell or effect can do before throwing that monster in. So if it's like over half of my party's total HP, I won't use it because I'd like to have them essentially. I want them to have a good time and also feel that that's the big thing with the dungeon. You want that balance so that way
Yeah.
they have a.
Yeah, I can definitely tell you. I watched you do your back when you used to stream your D&D campaigns. I really noticed that you seem to be very good at kind of understanding. Like, okay, you're not making it easy for people, but you're not making it overly hard. But you do make it difficult. You're giving them tasks that they need to overcome, and I don't want to use the word fair. It just feels that you kind of obviously you can't anticipate everything somebody's going to do because you have random players, people have free thoughts and stuff like that, but. Yeah, I've just always just been like, I've really admired like how you've kind of accounted for what might go on in the campaign, what might go on in the fight. And, there might be a point where we think we're losing, but hey, you already have a backup ready to go in case it starts going bad.
Yeah. Like, that's the thing. Like, you're the dungeon master.
Yeah.
If you think the party is losing in this encounter, think of a reason as to how they get out.
Yeah.
Maybe the floor collapses underneath them and they end up in a different area. Or perhaps, like,
Yeah, and that's
I
what I'm
wouldn't
saying.
use DM yeah,
Floor
I wouldn't
collapse
use
is
a
different
DM
area.
to
It's
save.
just like you had a backup map ready in case it went bad.
Yeah.
Has there ever been a time that
So-
you've did a campaign and you literally like okay, cool, they could definitely handle this. It's gonna be hard, and then they're like going really really bad. You're like, oh crap, I threw too much at them.
I'm trying to think of the top of my head. Well, I think at the time my first ever D&D campaign. Some of my players will remember this story. Where basically, they were in like this major city. We were having some kind of event at kind of like this royal party, and one of the players actually accidentally turned one of the other players' BBEG into a Tiamat.
Oh wow.
Because I had this like chart out like for what so what the other person would turn to once this item would be used. And well, sure enough, I got the max result, and it turned into a team match. I'm like, oh god, yeah, this is not going to turn out very well. But luckily, my players were able to find a solution to that, and it created a very amazing moment when our other druid at
Yeah.
the time managed to subdue a team map by making it attack its own heads.
Really?
Yeah. So that's what I mean. If something messes up in your campaign as a dungeon master, think of ways to make it like enjoyable for your party. Like your
Yeah.
party members, and another thing as a dungeon master,
Mhm.
don't worry about the rules. Like, yeah, you can be like, okay, maybe this doesn't work, but if your party has an interesting idea that they want to try out, even if it breaks the rules, give it
Yeah.
a shot. You never know what that story is going to lead.
Yeah, that's the cool thing about playing tabletop RPGs is that it's literally kind of down to the discretion of not only the party, but obviously it's the DM obviously makes the final choice, but you can actually, the beauty of it is you can actually bend the rules a little bit. You can, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Like, there's no harm in bending the rules
Yeah.
for the sake of fun. It's not a video game. You're not gonna
Yeah.
like. There's technically no retries, but you could. But it depends on the DM.
Well, you might have a bad roll and the DM might be like, roll again. That could happen.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you'll get bad DMs. You get good
Yeah.
DMs. It's just I hope everyone gets a good DM once in their tabletop, experience.
From what I've kind of experienced, it's just like there's obviously good DMs and bad DMs, but sometimes you just have bad players, and sometimes DMs just don't know how to deal with them, or they deal with them very poorly.
Yeah, and I have that experience too. Like sometimes I don't really do very well at interacting with bad players. I feel more withdrawn.
Yeah.
When I'm encountering that kind of person, I'm more enforceful now, especially after dealing with some problem players in the past.
Yeah.
But it's just like you're gonna get problem players. Like my best advice for that is just like if they're causing trouble for the party, bring the party together. Just talk amongst yourselves. If you can fix it, great.
Yeah.
If you can't, move on. Like it's no use like waiting out 6 months into a campaign.
Yeah.
Because if everyone's not having a good time, I had to learn that the hard way with the Dishonored campaign, sadly.
Yeah, to be honest, that's one of the things I really enjoyed. Maybe I'm have a rose tinted glasses from my experience playing, the test run we did a couple months back. But every player we were playing with, literally, they understood that I was a newer player. And also, I do want to add that this game is very, very approachable for new players. I had no issues at all figuring out how the game went. Obviously, making the character I needed help because it's not your typical D&D campaign. But one of the things I did like about playing with your group was that they're just very understanding and they were like willing to work around things. And I just didn't feel any, you can like kind of see a red flag of like a problem player. I didn't see any red flags, nothing like that. It was just everybody's like, hey, take your time, super helpful. If I had a question, people answered it. They weren't trying to talk down to me. They're just like, oh, they just explained it. And I really liked that, atmosphere.
Yeah, that's what I try to emphasize with my groups is that we're all playing the game together. We're all helping each other out. And like that's why I want to emphasize with my players. Hey, help each other out. Like we're all having a good time. That's the main goal. It's a game. Don't take it so seriously.
Yeah.
Unless you're super serious, then play a video game. Then you could be super serious.
You can be super serious because at that point it's literally just coding. It's a code that says this is what happens.
Yeah, and plus now you got Baldur's Gate 3. Had some background. So if you wanted to play D&D and you're super like into like the rules, there you go. You've got a perfectly set rule system that you can try to break, but the DM there is not going to allow you to do it.
Yeah. How many hours have you sunk into freaking Baldur's Gate 3 by this point, by the way?
Too much. I haven't played it in a long while because I've mostly been focused on other things, other games. But I think I sank about maybe 250 plus hours.
Holy guacamole.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a great game. It's a fantastic game.
It's fun. I love it. You and me need to play some more here in the near future.
Yeah, one day we shall.
Yeah, we shall. One day. One day.
We shall.
So what would you say is probably the easiest part of making a custom tabletop RPG?
The easiest part for me is that...
It could also be plural. It could be parts as well. You have multiple things that are easy.
Well, just to simplify it, everything that has ever been created starts with an idea. If you have an idea, write it down. If you have multiple ideas, make sure you jot it down. And then if you have like something that you want to incorporate with it, just take some ideas from other sources because everyone has done everything at least once. And so
Yeah.
creating something original is very difficult, but that's okay. You
Yeah.
know, like you can't advance anything without taking inspiration from something else.
Yeah.
I've taken inspiration from D&D and of course .hack, but
Yeah.
like if you have an idea, just go for it. Just see where it goes.
Yeah. I mean, there's a saying, everything is a remix when you think about it.
Pretty much. Some people can do
Yeah.
it better than others, but you know,
Yeah.
hey, that's trial and error.
I mean, they say imitation is the best form of flattery.
Yes, that is true. And
Yeah.
that kind of goes the same for my new mirror mimic class because they're all about imitation.
Yeah, when you think about it, a lot of the things that we love today are literally iterations of other things that have existed in the world.
Exactly.
I mean, like you think about like rock and roll that came from blues and jazz, basically.
Yeah.
It's people that admired two different things and just kind of fused it together. And even then, you have I'm going to talk about music real quick. Like you have like sub genres, like you might have like, okay, there's metal, then there's death metal. It's obviously based off of metal. People obviously, oh, somebody gave me something. What was that? Well, thank you. Whoever did that. I just got a little notification on Twitch. But
Oh no.
yeah, there's a lot of people that kind of like look down on like, oh, well, it's not the original. It's like, well, that's the thing, is that things evolve, things grow, things become something new, And that's the beauty, I think, of like D&D, and I think that's the beauty of like the campaign you're making, is that it's based off of D&D, but it's your own thing now, and it's like harnessing the love that you have for D&D, but also the love you have for the .hack series.
Yeah, and I think it was mostly the drive, to create more .hack content because while the community is strong, it is very, very small. Like, there's not that many .hack YouTubers. Yeah. There's not that many people invested in the series, mostly because of the handling of Bandai Namco. And so, like, for me, being in the community, I wanted to give back to them, like, give them new content, give them something, to do. While they wait for any sort of glimpse, for any sort of .hack content. So, what better way to do it than with a tabletop game where they can make their own .hack character? Like, have them put themselves within the world.
I mean, like, what really brings you to, like, the .hack universe to begin with? Like, obviously, I understand you love it, but, like, what brought that initial, like, joy? Like, what drove you to it? Like, what makes you want to do .hack as opposed to something else?
Well, back when I was trying to decide, like, because I've tried and failed multiple times to make a YouTube decade, maybe 15 years that I've been trying to do it, and it originally was, I was going to do Yu-Gi-Oh! Videos, didn't pan out. I was going to do Kingdom Hearts Union Cross videos, but my internet cut off when I was just starting, so I couldn't advance that. So when I did get internet back, it's the same channel, Key to Darkness.
Yeah.
That, if you ever wondered why I'm called Key to Darkness, it was supposed to be a Kingdom Hearts channel.
Really?
So
I did not know that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So it was supposed to be a Kingdom Hearts channel, and then Union Cross went offline. I'm like, oh, great.
Yeah.
I can't do that anymore.
My favorite thing about Kingdom Hearts is the story is super easy to follow.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Like, it's actually not that difficult once you read it.
It's so simple.
But, yeah, it's just kind of like, and then over the early parts of my YouTube career, like up until now, it's just kind of like a variety of videos. I started doing gameplay videos, went back to Yu-Gi-Oh! A little bit. Again, that didn't pan out.
Yeah.
Trying to think. I did try to do D&D content. Some of it worked, some of it didn't.
Yeah.
And then .hack was the big thing because the moment I started doing my abridged series, that is when a lot more attention to the channel, along with my Final Fantasy and D&D short series. I'm not doing that anymore, mostly because I kind of lost interest in doing it. But it was mostly like doing the abridged series that kind of drove most of my viewage over to that channel, and especially like recently with the why .hack is awesome. I was not expecting that video to get 5,000 views. Like I'm so amazed at so many people who still interested in .hack.
Yeah.
Because like, and that kind of what keeps me making .hack content is because there are people out there who want this series to come back.
Dude, those are the best videos. Like the ones where you're just like, I don't. It's kind of funny because like if I give like a lot of thought to what I want to make in a video, that one gets like maybe like a couple hundred views tops, and then I'll just have one where I just randomly like I'm gonna make a video about this, just randomly on the spot, and it just gets whenever it gets like super like large amounts of views, it's freaking awesome. Like for instance, I made a video about Magus from Chrono Trigger, and I actually had Battle Puppet re-edit it. So I have technically two videos. They're the same video for the most part, but he edited it with gameplay and stuff inside of that. And also he added some like little joke memes in there. But combined, it's like 5,000 views. And it's just like, wow, I literally just one day, I was just like, I want to make a video talking about Magus from Chrono Trigger and talk about why he's the best character in Chrono Trigger and he has the best story. And it just blows my mind that people really, really love that. You know?
And it's kind of strange because,
Yeah.
and even with my video, I didn't think that video, the why Dot Hack is so awesome, was going to do well, given like my last couple of videos before then didn't really do all that well. So I'm like, okay, you know what? I'll just not put in the minimum amount of effort. I mean, I already got most of it done. I'll just put it out there. And the next thing I know, oh, wait a second. There's so many people.
You want to link that in the chat real quick? I'd love to check that out.
Yes. Well, I mean,
yeah.
I can't link it into the chat because Nightbot's being a butt.
Send it to me on Discord. I'll link it in the chat for you. But I think that's the thing about it. That's like the little thing that most people forget about making videos sometimes is sometimes when you're making something that you're actually like really passionate about. And by passionate, I don't mean like, oh, you know, it's just something you do. Like, no, you have a deep emotional feeling for this topic or this series or whatever, and you make a video about it. People really, really, really do pick up on that. Like they really do.
Yeah.
Because like my Magus video. Yeah, go ahead.
No, you go ahead, Vin.
I was gonna say my Magus video. I literally was talking to somebody about Magus, and I was like, you know what? I want to make a video about this because I was going so deep into Magus' story to the point I'm like, I'm very passionate about this. I should record this.
Yeah, it's just kind of like it's especially for a series like Dot Hack. Like the series has technically been dead for. At least here in the States, because they're technically still getting Dot Hack stuff in Japan, sort of, not games or anything, it's just kind of like merchandise. But here in the West, the last game that we got in the series is Dot Hack GU, which came out in 2006, 2007.
Holy moly.
So, technically the series has been dead for about 15 plus years. I mean, yes, they did get a remaster of GU in 2017 for the 15th anniversary, but... It was a remaster. It was a good remaster, but it wasn't anything new, so to speak. And that was the only thing that we got.
So Battle Puppet said, I get where Key is coming from. I did a barely 20-second skit for a video, and it's gotten 1K views. Congratulations, Battle Puppet. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, hey, congrats. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, either the algorithm is doing something, because I kind of like chalk it up to one or two things. Either the algorithm is pushing it to more people, or someone called Winivin and decided to share it. You know, that's the only two things that I can.
Yeah, the algorithm on YouTube has been kind of a little pain in the butt lately.
I mean, it's always been.
Yeah, it's just kind of funny because like you can make videos and all of a sudden like, oh my god, I'm getting all these views, and then they change the algorithm just a little bit, and it's like, oh, I'm not getting any views anymore.
Well, not just that, but it also depends on your retention. Your retention is the big thing.
Yeah.
If people are not staying to the end, it's going to hurt the dynamics of the video. And it's not going to be sent out to more people. It's weird.
Yeah, it's really weird. It's kind of hard to kind of like. Sometimes it can be difficult to pivot, but that's why I think just doing what you want to do on YouTube is the best thing you can do. Also on Twitch when you're streaming, just do what you want to do because at the end of the day, like I've seen so many streamers that are like, I want to become a big streamer. That's why I'm streaming. I want to become a big streamer, which is a good thing to want. Yeah, we all do. But like, are you doing it because you want to become a big streamer, or are you doing it because you actually enjoy doing it? Because there's going to be a difference between people are going to see the difference between somebody who just wants to become big and somebody who's doing it because they love it, you know?
Well, not just that. It's just like the reason why some of the bigger streamers are there because one, they've been on the platform for so long. And two, they take advantage of opportunities to promote. Now, I'm not saying go into other people. Do not go into other people's chat and promote. That's terrible. But just kind of like they're taking opportunities to collab. They're taking opportunities to get things out there. And also, I think the big thing is luck. Like the right moment, the right time, the right play, and because there's a lot of people that have made it big that probably should not be streaming, sadly. You know?
Yeah. Oh, I agree with 100%. There's some people that there's a meme called like they're playing on rookie difficulty or recruit difficulty.
Yeah.
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 But yeah, the whole like promoting at
So
other people's things, I get that too. There's two kinds of promotions you can do, or there's multiple kinds. The one that I don't mind is like, hey, I'm gonna go stream, have a good night, whatever. I've had people come in my chat before though, and literally like link their stream, and it's like, what are you doing? Like, why would you do that?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's a big no-no for
Yeah.
anything. That's not how you get big. In fact, people are going to start going to someone else. They're probably going to
Yeah.
stick to the channel that you promoted on, rather than going to you.
Yeah. I had a talk with Jade about it too. We were chatting like a couple weeks ago because we were setting up a Minecraft server. But oh yeah, we were talking about that stuff, and I don't know if she told me. Maybe she had somebody come into her chat and try that, and I'm like, I don't ever do that. The most I'll do is be like, hey, I'm gonna go stream. I don't link it. I just say hey, and usually I'm sticking around for like 10, 20 minutes before I even leave. The most I'll do is like, hey, I'm gonna go stream, but I'm not linking my channel. I'm not putting any links. It's just I'm gonna go stream. So, bye. That to me is a kind of acceptable. Because it's not like I'm trying to promote my channel. It's just like, hey, I'm going to leave. I'm going to go do this. Have a good night, But yeah, the people who post links and stuff.
I'm streaming. I just be like, hey, I got to go. And then if they're... check me.
Yeah, 100%.
And I'll also emphasize this too. I've been on Twitch for a couple of years now.
Yeah.
Like, if you're getting into Twitch, just Twitch or even YouTube, just
Yeah.
for money, you're not getting anything off of any platform. All right. Like, unless you're like Pokemon or XQC, you're not going to be getting any sort of money from Twitch.
Yeah.
It's nice. Yeah, it's nice to have that extra revenue, but it's not like, unless you again get really lucky or willing to work on the channels, you're not going to make this a full-time job. I'm sorry, that's kind of the reality. I do want you to succeed, but don't go into thinking like this is going to be a replacement for any sort of job.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah, because like literally, oh man, it was back when I was in Colorado, so probably like 3 weeks ago. King Corgi actually sent me, I don't know if you know King Corgi, but he sent me a link to a person's stream, and I went there and like I was like, okay, cool, this is kind of fun. And then whenever I asked them like, so what makes you like to stream? They're like, I want to become a big streamer, and I was like, that literally just kind of killed it for me, because at that point it's like, oh, so you're not here for the audience, you're here because you want to make only money,
Yeah. Don't get me wrong, money is nice, but
oh no,
when people
yeah,
it's just when people see that you're just in it for the money,
yeah,
they're not gonna stick around. It's really sad to say the least.
It kind of goes into the same boat of like people like, so like whenever like I talk about streaming and stuff like that, a lot of times I'll hear people like, I don't care about the views, I don't care about viewers, blah blah blah, I'm doing this for fun. It's like, well, I mean, why are you streaming it then? If you just want to play a game, play a game. Like, if you don't want to interact with people, then why are you streaming it, Because the big thing for me, I like streaming because I like interacting. I like talking to the audience. That's what rewards me. I can have 3 people in my, on my stream, and if one of them's talking to me, I'm having a great time. I can have 20 people, and if nobody's talking, I'm having a horrible time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
When no one is in the chat, it does get a little bit lonely, but hey, it happens. You're going to, especially early on, you're not going to have any people come and say hello. Like, you need to build up that audience. Like, interact as if no one is there, Well,
even then, if like you're having a bad time when that happens, maybe change the game, find something else you'd rather do, because a lot of times you might just be playing the wrong game for you and you're not really having fun. You're trying to do it to get an audience, and the best way to get an audience is to have fun on stream. So like, for instance, there was a point where I was like, oh, I need a new game. And Battle Puppet recommended I play a Resident Evil 2 remake. So I started playing that, and I was barely looking at my chat. I was having so much fun, and I got a big old audience on that stream. It was amazing. But the best part was I was having fun, and that's what I need to make sure I'm doing, because, trying to make other people happy that you don't know doesn't really help you.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, if you need to have fun as a streamer or YouTuber, whatever you want to be. Otherwise, it just feels like it. And that's the worst thing. You want to have that feeling. No, don't get me wrong. Some people do like working on stuff, like just for the heck of it, but fun and entertainment in terms of like both you and the audience is important.
All right, so I did have more questions about your tabletop.
Yep. Yeah, go right ahead. We still got time.
All right, so what would you say is the most like rewarding, fun part of actually designing a tabletop RPG?
It's just finding all the different companies It's like making a puzzle.
Hmm.
Each piece is going to fit somewhere, some of it's not, but once you get the big picture finished, it creates a wonderful.
I think
And I
your
think
mic cut
that's
out.
the big thing. Oh, sorry. Oh, oops.
That's cool.
What was the last part?
Creating a wonderful. It creates a
Oh, creating
wonderful.
a wonderful. It
Yeah.
creates a wonderful image. Like
Yeah.
it's it's a tapestry of art essentially.
Yeah. I mean, what was probably like the most fun part of you? Like, what was the thing you probably look back at the most fondest when you're making, your dot hack tabletop RPG?
I think my fondest thing is actually testing out like some of these classes and I think the first thing that I have
Hmm.
tested was the Flick Reaper, where they're all about using scythes and doing massive damage to multiple instead of just one.
Hmm.
And it's just kind of like the Flick Reaper that I've been using for the test games, and because I'm actually running this game with another group,
Hmm.
it's just kind of like they're not the most powerful, but the fact that they can ignore defenses with their skills,
Yeah.
that is kind of a highlight. Like that's one of the driving forces to playing the Flick Reaper. You know?
Yeah. I mean, how do you actually test? That's actually a good point. How do you actually like test out to make sure your fights and like your enemies are not too strong? Like, how do you actually like balance the game?
Well, for the enemies, each enemy has a level.
Hmm.
And so if the enemy is a little bit higher or lower, then that's fine. But if it's like 2 levels higher and lower,
Hmm.
then you're either not going to challenge your players or they're just going to get steamrolled through the because going the jump between level 3 enemy to a level 4 enemy
Yeah.
is a pretty big jump. Like they have more HP. Like I'm just looking at 2 enemies right now.
Hmm.
One level 3 enemy is like 300 plus
Hmm.
HP, where like say the Holy Eater is 800 for a level 4.
Yeah.
Like there is a big jump between level 3 and level 4 because hey, at that point the players are going to get just as strong.
Yeah.
So the recommendation is that
Hmm.
your players should essentially fight against enemies that are on your level,
Hmm.
unless your characters have like combinations that can actually take on the heavier content. Excuse me. Can take on the yeah, excuse me.
That's all good, man.
That can take on the heavier content.
Yeah.
Which I mean, it is possible. I'm not saying that you
Mhm.
can't, take on level 6, 7, 8 as a level 4.
Yeah.
Just keep in mind that those enemies are going to hit harder. They're going to
Mhm.
have much more difficult things, but it's also rewarding.
Yeah.
Experience, more money, more like opportunities. Because especially with this system, like you can also like you have like common drops. You can steal rare items from enemies if you're a thief or have snatch augment. You
Mhm.
could even like once the enemy is defeated, you get certain types of armor.
Yeah.
Depending on the enemy.
Mhm.
It just adds. It makes it feel like an MMO, and that's kind
Yeah.
of like what I'm trying to do with this system.
Well, even like when we fought the big ass freaking enemy in our little test thing that we did a couple months back,
Sarah
like
knows.
yeah, it was like it was definitely not easy, but it also it was like difficult to the point that like I felt rewarding to actually like win that fight.
Oh yeah, especially since like the reward for that was pretty hefty. Was the black armor, which
Yeah.
increased every stat at the cost of increasing the SP cost of your skills
Yeah.
and spells. And just that alone, just 3 extra stats for each of the core stats outside of HP and SP, it can really drastically change like
Yeah.
like the power scaling of your character.
Yeah. So as a DM, like you at this point, you've been doing it for like years and years and years. Do you kind of just sort of
Yeah.
kind of just know what the difficulty you can kind of throw, or do you actually also kind of just offline? Do you ever try to like simulate the fight, just kind of just see how it's going to go, like play out? Not 100% like that. Just like
Well,
you have the characters are roughly around their level. Maybe you might even use their characters as like a basis, and then like you do some like basic rolls just to see like how hard the enemy's going to hit, and like you adjust it based off that.
I mostly just do the enemy side. I don't do the player
Yeah.
side because 1, I don't have their character sheets.
Yeah.
2, I'm not going to be in their mindset. Like I might choose
Yeah.
a skill or spell that they are going to choose, but the player might think something else in the moment.
Yeah.
Have a different thing. Like
So you
for me, I
simulate
test out
the
sheet.
enemy attacking then.
Yes, and usually
Yeah.
if it hits harder than half of the total HP that they do, I tend not to use it.
Yeah.
Or if I do use it, it's usually just one of that enemy, to balance it out.
Yeah. Yeah, because like that's one of the things that kind of fascinates me about DMs is just how much they have to account for because like you just said, you don't know what they're going to do. You don't know they're going to like, for instance, like one day I might do this. The other day I might do that. You don't know. I might be like in a whimsical mood where I'm going to be joking around and do this, or I might be like, I'm going to freaking try to F this enemy up. Or I might be like, oh crap, I want to stay out of dodge today. Like people's and players' mindsets kind of change as time goes on.
Yeah,
Obviously you want to play
absolutely.
to your
Like
character,
there's
but sometimes our little things can change how people react.
Oh yeah, it's a snowball effect. So, like one action can
Yeah.
decide the action of multiple people.
Yes, completely. That's why main character syndrome kind of sucks sometimes.
Well, it's a good thing I don't have too many experience with that. Like a lot of my groups are very wonderful. Like they're wonderful people, wonderful players. And I'm just like very appreciative
Yeah.
to have them. And like
That was by far probably the best D&D game I've ever played, to be honest. Just how welcoming people were and like how friendly they were and how they were like working together. I loved that because that's what I always thought D&D was. And that's what D&D is. We're all in this
yeah,
as like a team.
especially with this upcoming event, which will be on March 8th, I
Hmm.
believe, if I'm calendar. So you, me, and MC
Hmm.
Milky's, aka Jade, along with
Yep.
Okamichu, are going to be doing another test stream for IGR2. This time mid-tier play.
Oh, so okay, yeah. So that's what so the basics of what we did before was you were trying to just test out the system to see how well it works. Now you're trying to test out the mid-tier system.
Yes, the last time was early game.
Yeah.
Level
Yeah.
3, level 4.
Hmm.
This one is mid-tier play, level 6. Like at that point, your character is going to have so much customization, so many different ways to handle things, and like for this particular test, it is going against the Spectrum Dragon known as very devastating, ancient 6 colossal rainbow.
I think you might have cut out again.
Oh, sorry.
You were talking about Colossal
the-
Rainbow.
Colossal Rainbow Dragon.
Okay.
Yeah. And according to the lore that I pulled from online, the One Sin was a weapon used by humans to destroy the gods. It gained its immense power by drawing in energy from its surroundings. And that is what you are going to be facing in the next couple weeks.
Oh wow. Definitely excited for that. Hopefully I do good. Hopefully I
as
do
am I.
really, really good. Don't embarrass myself. But I think my character is
you know,
pretty well balanced.
Oh yeah, everyone's character
Yeah.
so far is well balanced. I would imagine.
I'm a speedy tank apparently.
Yes, you are. You can just zip around the battlefield protecting others.
Yeah. So how long have you been working on well, I guess this is a double question. How long did you actually want to start making a tabletop game and how long have you been actually working on this particular iteration?
Well, both questions are like the same. So yeah, I've been working on this for about a year now,
Hmm.
give or take. Between the 3 documents, I've been working on this on and off for upwards of a year,
Mhm.
balancing, tweaking, reworking some things, and adding new stuff along the way. And so far, I'm really enjoying what I've like. Because while it isn't finished, this is what I have right now is not even the finished product. I still have yet to get level 7 through 10 finished. I need to get the rest of the enemies in here, and then I'll be starting to work on the expansion for this called the Forest of Pain.
Oh,
which,
interesting.
just a little bit hint of what's going to go on with that is that I'll be making a separate document where it lists every single enemy within the system, but they're level 10, along with some new enemies, new subclasses, and a new storyline where you have to go through this 10-floor dungeon.
Oh, wow.
Try to get to the bottom.
Interesting.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean like man, I just the thought of just making an entire tabletop on its own, but even then just like making a campaign or even just like a battle, it fascinates me.
Yeah, it's a lot of hard work, but I'm actually so surprised that I even got through so much.
Hey, you seem to love it, and as long as it's making you happy and it's making your players happy, I mean, that's what matters, right?
Oh yeah. I think like once this is all said and done, I want to try to get the patent for the dot hack series, or at
Hmm.
least like licensing rights, and
Yeah,
try to distribute this out as its own.
dude, if you could do that, that'd be awesome because I really did enjoy it when I played.
Yeah. I think like once I get a printer or stuff, I'm gonna like once this is finished, I'll buy a printer, get the first actual physical copy as a
Hmm.
concept. Uh, See if I could contact Bandai
Yeah.
somehow to get this official. And hey, honestly, if it works out, that's great. If it doesn't, oh well. We still got a small community that is willing to test this out.
Yeah, I mean, even like back when I was doing my last D&D campaign, my friend ended up sending me like several like licensed D&D, games. Obviously not like Dungeons and Dragons, but they're D&D-esque. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's definitely something that can be done, and a lot of them are very, very interesting. Like one he sent me was superhero based.
Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of
Yeah.
like that. That's the thing with license. You got to make sure that, like, you have the permission in order to. Like, I cannot sell this. I cannot distribute this for monetary.
Yeah.
Which and this isn't about monetary, but I do eventually want to get a physical copy of this. Like
Yeah.
system, like have it printed out and everything. So that's going to take some money. Like, if I'm able to get the rights, then hey, that works.
Well, it's like I was saying earlier, like you do it for fun, but if you can make money, why not?
Exactly.
It's just a nice little side thing.
It is.
All right. Well, that's basically most of the questions I kind of had. I know you got to leave here in like 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah, something like that.
So, do you want to talk about your abridged series? Like, how long you been doing the
Yes,
abridged series, by the way?
I've been doing the Dot Hack and Bridge series for about 2 years now, on and off. Now, it has slowed down drastically, mostly because, one, I have such a large workload, both in my personal life and YouTube and
Yeah.
all of that. I've been trying to do other projects,
Mhm.
but it's with this abridged series. Again, it goes back to the idea that there's not that much Dot Hack content.
Yeah.
And with this, not only do I want to create content for the community, but I also want to not poke fun, but also create a story for the dot hack community, and just kind of
Yeah.
like revitalize a well-known story, not to surpass it, but to stand alongside. So that way, like when people take a look at this series, they'll be like, "Oh, hey, I like dot hack. Maybe I'll go." Watch, dot hack signs, or perhaps I'll play the games again. That's
Yeah.
the goal. I want people to look into the series, have a good time. I'll poke fun at some of the things in the series, of course. Like
Yeah.
the latest episode actually released, what was that, a month ago?
Mhm.
Yeah, January 26th. Yeah, the last episode I made a month ago, Tiny Terror, episode 6. That's probably my favorite one so far, mostly because I've worked on new editing skills for it.
Nice.
And hey, go check it out. If you don't mind me promoting a bit.
Dude, hey, this is literally your
Yeah.
promotion. This is a promotion stream for you.
Of course. Yeah. So hey, support Dot Hack GU or Bridge. Let's get those numbers up so that way show me, hey, you guys want to see more Bridge series, because not only do I voice act in it, I do the voice of Gaspard and a couple other things, as well as Empty Milky's voices
Yeah.
in it, Okami voices in it. I've got plenty of other voice actors that have contributed to this project. It would mean so much to all of us that you go and support the series.
Let me see. Do you want to send me a link on Discord to your latest one so I can put it in the chat?
I thought it. The latest episode. Sure, give me one.
Yeah.
I thought I did. I guess it.
You sent the why dot hack is so awesome.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I was sending the latest episode.
Love that thumbnail, by the way.
I know.
Did you make it yourself?
It's just like, yeah, I made it myself. Took an in-game screenshot. Did a little bit of editing on the right-hand side.
Yeah. Yeah, I used to be pretty good using Photoshop back in high school, but it's been so long. I'm kind of like, I wouldn't say I forgot. I just need to re-remember.
I'm definitely getting better at GIMP. That's for sure.
Yeah, I
That's
actually
what
have a friend from high school that a lot of times I'll hit him up to make thumbnails for me. He's really good. Like, I can spend like an hour making a thumbnail, and then like in 5 minutes he'll make one like way better.
Yeah, I mean, I can make decent thumbnails. It
Yeah.
depends on what the subject is, how I go about it.
Yeah, a lot of times if I have a good idea, I can pretty much make it pretty easily. But
Yeah,
So you heard it here first, everybody. Key to Darkness loves dot hack.
Yes, I am now officially a dot hack YouTuber. Please come to support the series.
Yeah, I mean, hey, if there's
Support the official release too.
it's definitely something that I know people love. I remember growing up. God, what channel was it on? Was it on Toonami? Or maybe it was Adult Swim. But I remember my brother used to watch Dot Hack Sign all the time.
It's such a good show. You could even watch it online.
Yeah.
I don't know where you could watch it online, but I'm pretty sure it's on YouTube. You could look it up.
Yeah.
Like watch the episodes there.
Drewski says it would be really nice to see the original 4 Dot Hack games remade. Oh yeah, dude, I literally got through. I played the first one. I started the second one. My brother sold it before I beat it, and I never got to finish it. So I'm very sad.
Yeah, iMock especially needs enough. A lot of people in the community want Bandai to remake the original Quadrilogy because those games came out in 2002.
Mm-hmm.
And while it is still fun to play, it's a lot of PS2 jank.
Really? So it came out in
There's a lot
2002. Did it take them a while to, like, I guess, localize it for America or something?
No, I think like it was a project between Sign and the games. Like they worked in tandem with each other, both, both sides. But that's kind of where the series started for a lot of us. Is iMock.
Yeah.
That came out in 2002, 2000, and then GU came out in 2006, 7.
Oh, interesting.
And afterwards, just complete silence for us American and European.
Yeah, because I remember it felt kind of crazy. I remember seeing the commercials back in the day and be like, oh my God, I want to play this game. And my brother bought the first 2, and it was kind of interesting because it kind of reminded me of like the Legend of Zelda Ages or Oracle of Seasons and Ages. Where it's like, oh my God, like 2 parts to a game. Like, holy crap, this is crazy. Almost like Pokemon. It just kind of felt like they all dropped at the same time.
Yeah, and funny enough, the dot hack games have this system where it's the keywords, where you can choose certain words to create procedurally generated areas in the world. Kind of sounds familiar. Yeah. It kind of sounds like Minecraft, where you create a unique seed, like a unique area each time you choose a different combination.
Oh yeah, that's right. You could literally go talk to players, and you can choose you could choose things, and they would say different stuff.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like, for 2002, it was definitely ahead of its time, which is why, especially now where there's so many MMOs, there's so many different types of online experiences, now is a good time to release more dot hack content.
Yeah, at the time I played EverQuest a little bit, and I kind of knew what online games were like, but I would say dot hack games on the PS2, the ones I played, the quadrilogy of them, they felt not exactly like online, but I liked the simulation. It was super duper fun.
Yeah, and the story is just as... The voice acting is 2002, so as long as you can get over that, then you should be fine.
I remember one of the things I liked to do in the first one was, God, what are those? What are the cow things?
Grunties.
Yeah, grunties. Yeah. I used to. Do you breed them in that game? I used to do something, but
yes, in the original Quadrilogy, yes, you did breed grunties, and you could also trade with them for sometimes unique and rare items.
Yeah, so I went hardcore in the grunties.
Yeah, and like it's just like. Grunties are amazing. Like, you get to raise a pet, you get to go explore a world, you go dungeon delving.
Yeah.
Everything you need in a video. That's why we need it remade.
Yeah, hopefully they can remake it sometime soon, because I definitely want to replay it because, like I said, my brother sold it before I got to beat the second one, so.
Honestly, I doubt it. Bandai is more focused on other IPs, like Sword Art. I think they own Dragon Ball.
Oh, God, I'm so tired of Sword Art.
Yeah,
I get it.
Digimon.
Kirito is the best protagonist on the planet.
Well, funny enough, like, like I know I make jokes about Sword Art, and I don't really like the series, but they did also take some inspiration from Dot Hack. I think.
Yeah.
Because I think they got successful because they came out at a time where MMOs were just popping up, like World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
And things like that. They came out at the right time. Dot Hack was just like just too soon.
Yeah.
Just too soon to be as popular as Sword Art.
Yeah, my issue with SAO is literally they had a great story in the first season. Halfway through, they kind of just abandoned it, and then the second season was pretty cool with like the the guns and stuff like that. And then halfway through the season, they just abandon that and they go to the fairy thing. Which fine, the fairy thing should just be its own season, to be honest. But it's just like they
Well,
had something cool that I really liked, and like they just halfway through the season, it's over. You know?
I mean, it's not controversial for me to say that the abridged series for Sword Art is much better than the actual series.
Oh, should I check that out?
Yeah, yeah. If you haven't watched it, check out Sword Art Online Abridged. It's really good. It does a much better job with its story, funny enough, than the
Yeah.
original Sword Art.
But everybody in chat, you do need to watch Dot Hack Abridged before you watch that.
Yes, exactly. Watch
Yeah.
Todd Hack Abridged. Give us some support because it takes a long time for me to get these videos together, and will
Yeah.
mean the world to me that you support it. No pressure. You know.
No, no pressure from him. All the pressure from me. I'm pressuring you right now. So we're gonna do the Watch Dot Hack Abridged challenge, everybody. So the challenge is you go watch Dot Hack Abridged, you leave a like on the video, and you also leave a comment. And if you're not subscribed to Key to Darkness, you need to subscribe. That's the challenge.
Yes. Also, also subscribe to you're called Alkin Slice on Twitch.
Yeah.
Subscribe to Alkin Slice. You know, for more conversations and gaming topics. You know, whatever it need be. You know,
Yeah.
he's a good dude, good fellow.
Yeah, I definitely gonna do a lot more of these because I did them for a while before. Then I kind of got like had some life changes, so it was kind of like difficult to find time to do it, and also kind of hard to find some topics. But I want to get back into it because these are probably I love streaming gameplay, you know, but I find these ones the most fun
Yeah.
because, like I said, I stream because I want to talk, you know.
Exactly. Then what better way to talk than to talk to someone live? You know?
Yeah. All right, so I think I already linked your channel in the chat. Let me
Yes, I believe you did.
link
Yeah, you
them
linked to my
one
video.
more time. Let's see. Key to Darkness. I'm gonna link your Twitch real quick.
Yeah.
If y'all didn't know, by the way, Claude here goes live. What days you go live and what times? I know it's 7 p.m. my time.
I go live Mondays,
Mhm.
Wednesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. Usually at around 8 p.m. with the exception on Saturdays being usually about 6:30.
Mhm.
So late in the evening, late evenings.
Awesome. All right. Well, if y'all guys really did enjoy the stream, make sure you hit that like button. Subscribe if you're not subscribed to my channel. Also, go check out Key to Darkness on Twitch. Also, check him out on YouTube. Like I said, he does have the Dot Hack Abridged series, which he's put a lot of work into, and it would really mean a lot to both of us if you went and just dropped a like, watched it, and, show some love.
Yeah, stay classy, stay beautiful, but most importantly, all of you wonderful people, have a good night.
All right, everybody. Have a good one.